Welcome to the Movie Vault. I'm Ben Stanhope.
And I'm Zach Leewald.
And today, as our guests, we have none other than Backstage Cinema.
Hello, it is me, Mr. Backstage Cinema.
Hello. No, he's backstage. I'm cinema.
Yeah.
Backstage and Cinema. Right there.
Yeah, in your movie.
Movie
and Vault.
Oh, yeah.
That works for me.
So, I guess we'll get right into it. Today, we are reviewing a wonderful movie called Minions Rise of Gru.
Yeah.
We went to see it in the theater yesterday. What'd you think, Zach?
That was pretty great, I guess. Kind of.
I think all the extra bananas that were thrown on screen really added to like my perception of the movie, got me really more involved. Granted, I didn't appreciate it when they kicked us out because we put the bananas on the screen, but like, you know,
I get
it is
what
it is.
you're saying. Yeah.
Sold $1 million. So
$1
obviously
million.
it went
$1
over well.
Pretty gruesome.
But actually, we're reviewing the movie Thor: Love and Thunder. After saying we would never go back to see another Marvel movie on our last podcast.
Did we say that? No, I don't think we did.
Well, yeah, okay. We maybe didn't say that, but it was kind of the feeling that we got.
In your minds.
Yeah. But today we did. Or yesterday we did, rather.
Yeah.
And for better or for worse, we saw Taika Waititi's.
Wait, can I just say something real quick?
Yeah.
I love that you guys say Taika Waititi. It's technically. Do you want to say it or do you want to say it?
Technically, it's Taika Waititi.
Taika Waititi.
Wait,
Taika
I don't know.
Waititi.
I don't care.
Titty. Taika Waititi. I don't know. I don't know.
Taika Waititi?
You may have to
it
censor that.
TD?
I don't know.
I don't know.
It's
You may have-
Titi. I don't know.
we'll
What
see
is it
about that.
actually, though?
I don't know.
You
What
guys
is it
say
actually?
it right. I just love the pronunciation.
Taika
of the
Waititi.
TT. Yeah.
Taika Waititi.
Correct us on it or something.
No. I just love how you guys say it.
Yeah,
That works.
well, it's just a good name. He's everyone's favorite New Zealander. If anybody wants a
Well-
New Zealand accent. Okay.
I would say Peter. I like Peter Jackson.
Same.
Peter Jackson's my favorite New Zealander.
I forgot
or
that he was from
maybe
New Zealand.
is Jason Momoa technically a New Zealander, or
No, I thought
No,
he
he
was
was born in the States.
Oh.
Iowa, actually.
No.
because I know he
But
has
he
some
lived
roots
most of his life in
Dwayne
Hawaii,
Johnson
New
is
Zealand.
Samoan, right?
Yeah. They both are.
Oh, okay.
I
They're
have a
both
cat
Samoan.
named Samoa.
Wait, who's Samoa?
Oh, I just said I have a cat named Samoa.
Oh, gotcha. That's a cool fact.
That was something nobody here needed to know.
So, who wants to take a stab at the plot? Give us a little run through.
As the biggest Marvel fan here, I can take over for that.
Are you
Go
a bigger
for it.
Marvel fan than Zach?
Oh, actually,
No, I don't want to do the plot.
Rock
Dude,
paper, scissors.
I
over
don't, did we
who's the
say
big-
our real names? I'm Jaden. Everybody.
Oh, I'm Ike.
Yeah.
Or Ikey. Or
I just
or
forgot
whatever.
about that part.
Joe Mama
Joe,
is what he
apparently.
also is called.
Joe, yeah.
Something like that. I don't know what we're doing.
Okay, we'll just go through the plot.
All right.
Here we go.
So the
Plot.
basic plot point: bad guy loses daughter. Bad guy sad. Bad guy kill God. Bad guy need to kill more gods. Thor sad. Miss girlfriend. Girlfriend cancer. Girlfriend dies. Boyfriend or girlfriend gets hammer power, and yeah, the movie continues from
She's
there.
not dead yet.
She's not dead yet. She will be dead. Spoiler alert. I'm assuming that we're talking spoilers.
Yes, we're talking spoilers.
Yeah.
We have no qualms about spoilers.
That's
Hopefully, Jonathan over there doesn't care.
Let me
There we go.
let me redo this in an actual serious sense.
No, this was the Neanderthal cut.
Oh, the Neanderthal cut.
I kind of actually like the way that you're doing
Yeah.
it, honestly.
Thor sets off on a quest for love in thunder. Gore the god butcher, played by Christian Bale, is on path to kill all of the gods. Jane Foster's in the equation, becoming the mighty Thor. Together with Valkyrie, Meek, and Korg, they set off an adventure to retrieve the captured and kidnapped kids, all in hopes of defeating Gore the god butcher. That better?
That's better. I like this.
I was hoping it started off kind of like how,
This
Taika
summer.
Waititi did it. Like, let me tell you about your story. of Thor,
Thor.
the God of Thunder.
The God of Thunder.
Yeah.
See, I can't do it.
Oh, made out of rocks. Because
I'm
made out
Korg.
of rocks.
That's
Korg.
Meek. He's
I
got
love
nicer hands.
I
Yeah.
love Dwayne.
Don't let that intimidate you. Unless you're made out of scissors. Did a little bit of a rock paper scissors joke for you. I was hoping you like that, but it's okay, man. It's cool.
This is the best imitation that we've had since Alec came on the podcast.
Alec Baldwin came on the podcast. Did Alec? Did he try to shoot you
Did he
guys? Oh
shoot you
no!
guys?
Oh dear. Oh no,
That
they're
was-
not cinematographers. He only has a
Boom,
thing
boom,
for
boom.
cinematographers.
We don't talk about that.
Not
Well,
anymore.
since George Clooney came on the podcast. That's
oh,
the
that's.
best.
Wait, you guys had George Clooney?
Yeah. It's a hidden.
What
It's
the
like
darn?
an Easter egg episode. You have to search for it.
Oh crap! We gotta go listen to all of them again.
All of them in reverse order.
Yeah,
Find it.
if you listen to them backwards, that's the key.
Oh, I thought I'd just get like a demonic message or something if I listened to them backwards.
No, you're thinking of Stairway to Heaven.
Oh, that's right. That's the one. That's the one. That was a fairly good summary of it, though.
Yeah.
So, like, what did y'all think of it?
Let's go through each of our reactions.
Yeah. Do
One
we
by
want to do
one.
seeing before we saw the film, our reactions going in?
Like our expectations.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go through our expectations. Zach, what was your expectation?
Okay. So after, I'd say my expectations when it was first announced was, okay, cool. You know, a fourth Thor movie, is it needed? I don't know. I don't know if it's necessary, but I do like that that Taika Waititi. I did like Thor Ragnarok. I thought it was great. I thought that evolution of Thor, even though it was very inconsistent, it kind of helped the franchise in general. But when they announced it like 2 years ago or 2.5 years ago, I was kind of excited because I was like, yes, we got another Thor Ragnarok type of thing. But I think it was probably, I think Doctor Strange had come out already, and then they released the trailer for Love and Thunder, and I was like, okay, you know, it might not be as good as I think, because it kind of looked super, super cheesy in the trailer, and that worried me. And I watched this one YouTuber, I can't remember, he said,
Jonathan?
it was Jonathan, and he said, if you watch this trailer and you're like, oh yes, I can't wait for this comedy, then you're gonna love it. But if you watch this trailer and you're like, oh man, I'm kind of worried, then you're gonna hate it. And I didn't hate it, but that's my post thought. What about Ben?
Okay, so I don't even know whether I can really explain what my expectations were, because I kind of got into the movie theater and I sat down and I was like, I told Zach, I was like, I haven't even really thought about what I'm going to think about this, like what I'm expecting out of this movie.
Mhm.
I think when I heard Jaden was coming back, I kind of was like, I don't really like that. Like,
I thought you
I
said
didn't-
my name, and I was like, what?
I didn't really like the idea of Jane coming back because I was sort of upset at Natalie Portman for leaving the franchise to begin with, because I think it was sort of her call. And so I was like, so now we got Ragnarok, which Ragnarok was good without her, so I guess it was fine. But I liked her character well enough. And then she was just like, oh, I'm too good for Marvel all of a sudden. I don't know if that's really why. But, and then she's like, now that Endgame happened, it's like, now I'm coming back because it's such a big cultural phenomenon. And I guess like Christian Bale is in Marvel now. So if you're Natalie Portman's a critically acclaimed actress. You know, if you've seen Black Swan or anything like that, she's good. But then I saw her in the movie, and I kind of have mixed feelings.
Put your
about
phone
her.
away, Jaden. We're on a podcast right now.
Jaden's just over there watching TikTok. We can see that he drove all the way out here just
That
to.
was an Instagram reel.
Yeah. Anyway, so I think that kind of gave me mixed feelings, but I like the idea of like Love and Thunder and it being like more themed around like 80s, 70s rock music and kind of leaning into that, which I guess we'll have to get into whether it actually really did like really lean that much into the whole idea of rock music. So those basically I had mixed expectations going in, and they kind of met my mixed expectations.
Well, so my expectations going in, well, as
I just posted you on our story. I apologize.
there we go. Now we're good. Not a huge Marvel guy in general. There are some things that I really appreciate about Marvel, like the Captain America movies, like the later Avengers movies. Other than that, like post Endgame, I've had no expectations for anything as far as Marvel movies go. So my expectations were automatically going to be low. But then I heard Taika Waititi's making the next Thor movie, and I enjoyed his last one. It's entertaining, and at the end of the day, like, as long as I'm entertained, I guess it's fine. So,
Are you not entertained?
oh yeah, speaking of not entertained, they had Russell Crowe as Zeus, so that was pretty cool to see him come.
Was I the
come
only one
back.
who hated his accent?
It was terrible.
I thought it was. I mean, it didn't take me out of it.
Yeah,
It did for me in
It didn't
parts.
really take me out of it, but it wasn't my favorite.
Yeah,
I thought it was Russell. I thought it was Kurt Russell at first.
Kurt Russell.
He's in another Marvel
Yeah,
movie,
he's
right?
He's great.
Peter
Ego.
something's.
He's
yeah.
Ego, yeah.
I thought he was awesome.
Yeah. But I mean, I enjoyed some of the casting, with Russell Crowe and Christian Bale, and like I was fine with Natalie Portman coming back. I just feel like overall it was still an entertaining experience, and it was much better than Multiverse of Badness. So I was going into the movie just hoping it wasn't
Midness.
going to be. No, it's just bad. It's just badness. And so yeah, expectations weren't too high, and I left just about expecting how I would feel to leave.
Yeah.
That makes sense, right?
That is completely fair. My expectations were really high. I won't lie.
Lying is wrong.
Yeah, I don't lie here ever. I love you guys. See, you don't know if I'm
appreciate
lying or
that.
not.
I
No.
will believe you with every word
yeah.
that comes out of your mouth.
No, I think after the trailer dropped, I said to somebody, it may have been Ike, it may not have been, that this could be a top 10 Marvel project. Boy, was I wrong. No, I still think I lowered my expectations when I saw the reviews came out, and everyone praising it had a lot of problems, and everyone who didn't like it, again, had a lot of problems too. So I thought, all right, my expectations are going to be a little bit lower. Christian Bale for me was the easy selling point. As soon as I heard Christian Bale was on board, I was like, heck yeah, this is going to be great. Jane Foster, I've never liked, so I wasn't that excited for Natalie Portman coming back, but I guess we can talk more about that once we actually get into the review. But yeah, my expectations, I guess, as we entered the theater, were kind of like, we'll see how it goes. Before that, though, this is going to be amazing.
We kind of all had similar things, except for you said top 10. But
Yeah.
besides that, I think we all had kind of similar views.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that reason was I thought Ragnarok was great. I would consider it a top 10 Marvel movie, but when I watched it the other night, I was like, ooh, this isn't as good as I remember it.
Could
to
I
be.
name 9 Marvel movies I prefer over Thor Ragnarok, though? I'm not really sure.
No. So that's when I thought, well, the reviews for this aren't I mean, they're not bad. I think it's sitting at like a 68 or 69, which
It's pretty bad for Marvel.
Yeah, for Marvel standards, that is quite bad. And it also is fairly mixed. Like, I think it's an 82 for fan, or whatever the fan
Yeah.
reaction is, which most every film, you sit in like the 90s, unless it's that horrible.
Because the fan base is so positive
Yeah,
all of the time.
exactly. Something along those lines. So I don't know.
Yeah. So now do we want to talk about our feelings after the movie? What were your emotions after the credits roll and saw
Yeah.
both end credit scenes? Were you crying? Were you laughing? Were you seething with rage? Were you envious of Chris Hemsworth's body?
Oh, yeah.
Dude
has the hottest arms in the world.
Very envious.
Do you think he's the hottest guy? Oh, let's go through. Is he the hottest male actor in Marvel?
Okay, I hate this question.
I'm
not sure. In Marvel, yeah, that's it.
I think yes.
What is hot? What does it mean to be a hot male actor?
Let's make this very theoretical.
Well, no, because you got personality. If it was personality, then RDJ.
Yeah, he
As
does
Iron
have
Man.
the charisma.
But if not, then yeah, Chris Hemsworth, of course.
I think purely physically.
Maybe he may be like top 3. I feel like Michael B. Jordan is up there.
Yeah,
Not as much as Chris Hemsworth.
I feel like
If we're talking physique, then yeah, it's gonna be him. But I feel like Michael B. Jordan also, his hair was very attractive.
that's true. I agree.
But yeah, I'll just respectfully agree with you.
Okay,
Captain
now
America's pretty up there too. Old Chris Evans.
Chris Evans. Yeah. Okay, now we'll
Especially in
just
the
go feelings after the movie.
Ooh. Ben, I think it met my expectations because we kind of had the same expectations going in. So I mean, I read reviews. I'm not a big like, oh, I got to avoid spoilers guy. So I kind of just,
Ooh.
I know, I kind of get things, learn things before the movie a lot, and then a lot of things are predictable too. Like I predicted a few things at the end, but it's not like a praise for me. It's like it was pretty obvious, and it's kind of like, it met my expectations, like you said, my mixed expectations. It was like, I was so happy that we got to see the Guardians again, but it was like for 5 minutes, and then
Yeah, I was disappointed.
I
in
will.
that
I will
sense, but
say.
I knew it was happening.
I don't want to cut you off. I liked how little they showed him, just because it's getting me more amped up for the holiday special.
exactly, which is leading into their movie
Yep.
early next year. Guardians is probably the last project that I'm excited for within the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
That's fair.
Maybe there's another one. No,
No, that's gonna. I feel like that's gonna suck.
no, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. But so I think I was angry at the fact. Then I was crying. I was so angry at the fact that there were so many great moments that could have been that I was expecting to happen. So there were a lot of scenes that were like, oh, this emotional point could be hit really hard. And this could be a great scene, great emotional, dramatic scene. But we're all going to say this something like this, where the humor just undercut it, and it wasn't as great as it could have been. But the annoying part is I'm not even like a big film guy. I know I have a movie podcast. I'm not even a big film guy, and I could have seen better scenes in my head, right? I could have seen.
Yeah, that's fair.
I could have seen them, and that made me mad. And that's kind of the whole thing. And there were a couple comments I said to Ben. If you remember, I was like, there was a scene where they were doing the stage thing, and it just kept going on. Like they were doing the play about Thor 3, and I was like, this is so dumb. And then it was funny, but it's like I said to Ben, this is going to be the entire movie, right? And I did like a few things at the end, but my biggest complaint, sorry, I was taking forever. The biggest complaint I had is that Thor did not, in my opinion, earn the fathership role in this movie. I don't think he earned it at all. I think that they foreshadowed it in this movie where he said, oh, Thor will be a great dad. Korg said that. This is a terrible accent. And there was another scene where he's helping those kids out. He's right. He's like, we're team kids in a cage. He's talking to the kids, but he didn't. The story arc he had in this movie had nothing to do with kids, and they force a kid in the end. And it makes no sense, that last scene. I'm sure you guys will bring it up, so I'll be done. But yeah, he didn't earn, in my opinion, the fathership role. Because he didn't have to make any fathership decisions in the movie. So
I'm going to play devil's advocate.
Ooh.
I think this movie actually works from a humor perspective for me. Because if I choose to watch this movie as a not self-serious Marvel film, because I see you would get really angry if you wanted this movie being like, I want to see this push along the plot of the MCU. But if you just are like, this is Taika Waititi taking pot shots at Marvel for 2 hours, then it's good. But it works really well, especially the first half of the movie. Like the play scene, I was in love with that. I was like, I could watch the rest of the movie just being like, and the product placement stuff with
Infinity Cones.
Infinity Cones.
I hated
Infinity
that, I'm not
Cone,
gonna lie.
and and the Old Spice scene and New Asgard and Valkyrie just being like a businesswoman. Like all of that, I liked it so much because I was like, Marvel knows exactly where they're like cheesy and cringe, and now they're like, Taika Waititi is like making it self-aware, so it's like self-referential, which I love that kind of stuff. But the issue is that the movie gets serious in the second half, and then we just like switch gears. So it's not like a South Park parody of Marvel anymore. It's like supposed to be a serious movie where you're like, oh, this guy is beating this god butcher and taking on this new fathership role and having his girlfriend die, and like none of this stuff is like funny anymore. It's all, and so it's kind of an odd shift from the first like 20 or 30 minutes where it's just like nonstop parody almost. So I don't know that that's really playing devil's advocate. It's just that like I sort of just compartmentalized the movie and was like, I really like the humor part at the start, and I really couldn't care less about the plot for the most part. And I just am like, my reaction then is like, I like the movie fine for what it is, but it kind of just doesn't work because it's a mishmash of too many things. It doesn't buy into being any singular, like it doesn't buy into being completely a comedy, which wouldn't really make sense anyway. And it doesn't, and then it's hard to force the comedy aspect with this like more serious part. But it's not as like, to me, like I cringed during Doctor Strange, whereas this movie, the comedy actually made me laugh. So that's my feelings. 6 out of 10, but 5.5 out of 10, something like that.
Okay. My initial feelings were discomfort because I realized, I've accidentally spilled root beer on myself. But aside from that, since my drink leaked, I feel like overall I got what I was expecting. I wanted to see Christian Bale put on a good performance, and he did. I think him and Thor were the best parts of this movie. Like you said, it feels kind of like it's almost like a hodgepodge of different stuff. Like you got your comedy, you've got anytime like Christian Bale was on, you got your horror elements, and a lot of things just kind of it was like they just kind of had this idea and they were just like throwing spaghetti on the wall type of deal, seeing what stuck, and a lot of things just like happened just for no reason or for comedy's sake. There wasn't a whole lot of just like story building. Like Valkyrie was just there. Jane was thrown in for comedic relief most of the time, even though that wasn't
Which is
really her
so
character
strange.
beforehand.
Yeah.
Yeah, she seemed to have like become more.
She's also just
childish.
not a comedic actor.
No, she's not. So it's just I feel like she was underutilized in that aspect. But overall, I mean, I enjoyed most of the humor in it. Some of it just made me cringe a lot, but I enjoyed Christian Bale's character. I enjoyed some of the cinematic choices too, like the fight in the Shadow Realm. I really, really liked when they're on the spherical thing. I thought that was like
That was neat.
super cool. It kind of gave me some like Arcane vibes almost, or some like it almost felt like an anime. Even though I haven't like seen a whole lot of anime, I've only seen like clips. It just felt like much more of like an artistic thing that was happening in front of me instead of just like obviously it was all CGI, but it wasn't like your typical glossy fighting bad guys in the sky type of battle. It was more like Vikings, like it was in black and white and like it was on the spherical object. It was just I thought it was a really cool choice to go with that, so that was probably my favorite part of the movie. And then everything else kind of just like it didn't stand out really. I mean it felt like a Taika Waititi type movie in that sense, like so it stands out like as far as comedy goes and like his choices, but like basic plot, basic like characters and stuff like that, it just felt like a Marvel movie. So it wasn't something that was like, oh wow, this was amazing, but it also wasn't like, no, this was terrible. Again, as I said earlier, much preferred it over Multiverse of Badness. But yeah.
I think for me, after the opening few scenes, actually from the start of the movie till after the Guardians, I was loving it. I was like, this is great. Visually, it looked incredible.
Opening scene really good.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
I
very much
loved.
so.
I think I may have laughed a little too much. I loved when he's given his little, "We're saved, another Thor adventure. Your temple is saved," and all of a sudden the whole thing came crashing down. I'm like, all right, that was some good comedic timing.
Team effort.
I thought the last. Cover your ears for a second.
We have someone off screen who's
I
listening
think
to us who hasn't
once Jane died, from that moment, you're good. To the to the final shot.
seen it. The man can lip read, so he knew
From
exactly
that
what he was saying.
moment to the final shot, I loved. I thought it was a great ending. Okay, that's right.
Okay, so we've already disclosed that Jonathan doesn't care about spoilers.
Yeah.
right?
That's
Okay.
fair. That's fair.
Wow, that makes us look really good right now.
Definitely.
But everything after the Guardians to that moment it didn't work. I thought that the humor in this movie was good, but sometimes too much is too much. What you guys were saying about it was about what you expected. To me, it was exactly what I expected, but a little bit too much of what I expected. I loved the jokes in Ragnarok. I loved the dramatic moments in Ragnarok, and this movie gave you both. But the tones clashed so much because most of the dramatic moments had to have a stupid one-liner or a joke, and that's my biggest problem with Ragnarok is when Asgard is destroyed, they had to throw a joke in. So like this movie felt a little too over the top with the humor. And again, don't get me wrong, some of it worked. Some of it worked much better than most of the MCU project, but a lot of the one-liners, and you may have heard me say it, I was just like, oh my gosh. I kept cringing, especially over the rainbow one.
Anything that Jane said.
Yeah.
I think I didn't even realize that it was supposed to be funny. Some of the time.
and I hate to say this because I feel like they did Jane's character justice for what she was in the comics. I really like the whole, the way that they used stage 4 cancer, I thought was very, very good and very true to what her character is in the comics. But she just wasn't funny. And again, I don't think this is the type of character Natalie Portman needs to be. In the other Thor movies, she's not funny at all because she's supposed to be the person that we're seeing these. She's the lens into what this world is like. That's how she's always been treated. In this movie, I don't know. I feel like it was also really rushed. The second she gets the hammer, the movie just flew by like that. But yeah, I guess it was what I expected, but a little too much of what I wanted. Or what I expected. Gore I will say that Gore was great. Probably a top 10 Marvel villain for me. Really great redemption at the end, but I was really worried that he was going to use that wish for something that would have really pissed me off. I don't know though. It's not good. I'd
This
say
sounds
it's
like
maybe
a
decent.
a replay of most of Marvel's projects lately.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Even and I hate to say this. Did you guys talked about No Way Home when it came
Yes,
out, right?
we did. Yeah.
I said this when we were stopping in a Target yesterday. I was saying that I think, in my opinion, I think Loki is probably my favorite project of Phase 4.
I agree.
Tonally, from beginning to end, it has the greatest opening episode. It's really heartfelt. The last episode subverts your expectations. You don't have this big giant CGI battle. It's a great 40-minute conversation that adds a lot of tension to the show. No Way Home, I would say, is the best film. However, the more I've thought about it, it's the fan service is why we appreciate it. There's so many inconsistencies with that film. There's so many plot holes that at the end of the day, like I was telling Ike yesterday, I don't know if I really enjoy it that much. It's not the best Spider-Man film ever.
No.
I don't know.
Not even close.
Shang-Chi may possibly be the best film from Phase 4. But that was just...
I haven't seen it, personally.
I have not either.
It was pretty good. But again, it's not great. Nothing so far except Loki I feel like has been great. Not even Moon Knight could save it.
All facts here today.
All facts, no
Nothing but
cap.
facts.
That's what we do.
There's not very much disagreement either. So, if you were to say one thing to Kevin Feige about how they can right the ship, what would it be, Zach?
I don't know. I really don't know. Probably I would say, if I had to come up with something right now, I would say maybe take your time, do less movies, do less shows. Maybe do 1 show a year, 2 movies a year. That way you can do 2.5-hour movies without us getting sick of it and not rush anything, and spend a lot of quality time making good CGI and storyboarding. And you would be involved in the process, Kevin. You would be involved in the storyboarding, because it seems like there are too many movies and shows coming out for you to be involved in all these, and it's going in a lot of different directions, Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin.
So,
He's spitting facts, Kevin.
yeah, I think that
Screw you, Kevin.
I think it's not Kevin's. There's no way Kevin's involved in every production.
No, he is.
No, he's an executive producer, but he's probably just like I know they go on a retreat like every 5 years or whatever, every year to like plan the next bunch of years or something like
He's
that.
not as involved as he could be.
Yeah, and I don't think he can. There's too many projects.
Yeah.
It's impossible. So, Kevin, I would say go to 2 movies a year, 1 show a year. And I know that's not a lot, and I know that makes me sad. Like for old Marvel, I wish old Marvel was 3 movies a year and shows. I wish they had shows back then that were good.
Yeah.
But for now, we're getting to a place that I'm not exactly too thrilled, so let's dial it back a little bit.
Do you mind if I add something before you go?
Go ahead, yeah.
I showed this to Ike yesterday. This could take a second. Also, I'm going to just be honest. I'm not good at reading numbers. I never have been, so we'll see how I get through this. But anyway, there are 2,849 minutes of content from Iron Man right up to the end of Endgame. As of the most recent Ms. Marvel episode, which I don't know when this is releasing, the finale may already be out, but it doesn't really matter. There will have been 2,954 minutes of content post Endgame. So so as of 2 weeks ago, there are officially more MCU content post Endgame than before. It took 11 years to get from Iron Man to Endgame. It's been 3 years since Spider-Man: Far From Home came out. Kicked off the movies post Endgame. Oh, and that includes, and all of these minutes are included in a one and a half year gap between the release of this and the pandemic. And it also, all of this is taking place in the same year. So we've had more content since Endgame to now Thor, because you can add, 120 some minutes maybe? That's a lot of content.
It's a problem. It's obvious now that this is no longer about creating the most unique cinematic, like all inclusive experience ever, and to becoming a straight up just business commercial move to just capitalize on the popularity of this thing and just really go for broke to the like. They're just going to keep going and going at 100 miles per hour until they crash into something at this point. And but I don't know that it'll be a crash, actually. I said that like there's going to be something that everyone turns. It'll probably be like a dwindling kind of effect where it's like it's slowly people become like us and they become more like they watch more and they're like, do I really want to spend the rest of my life using the like few hours that I have after I work my 10-hour a day difficult manual labor job and come in to relax to watch a mediocre episode of, whatever the new the Reed
She-Hulk.
duo of Daredevil or She-Hulk or whatever, and the characters that they don't know about, which using characters they don't know about is awesome, and it really worked for the first part up into Endgame. But now it's sort of it's all about spreading. They're spreading themselves too thin, and Zach's right about the quality too, and the CGI and stuff. That now that they're spreading themselves so thin, they also can't focus on the quality of the animation and stuff on the TV shows. So there's like a marked decline in quality, which is super important when you have so much there's so much competition in the entertainment, more than there's ever been. You could go watch a million other things, and so quality is very important. And I don't know, it's probably not going to change anything, but that's just sort of the direction it's going. Ike,
even beyond the TV shows, like the movies, like in Doctor Strange, you could clearly see like there was this green glow on Doctor Strange and Elizabeth Olsen. Well, I don't know why.
I kind of wonder whether that's a
like,
Sam Raimi
that was
supposed to be campy.
It could be, but like
it looked really rough.
Overall, just like a lot of the CG. Well, in Thor, it was pretty good overall. I just feel like there's a couple of different things like you guys said, where they just kind of like, because they're spreading out so much, there's just not as much time and I guess maybe even love put into the process that is being put into it. They need to put more love in Love and Thunder, I suppose. But I would agree with what both of you guys said with spreading out more and concentrating on the individual projects more and actually making them better, because I feel like with them bombarding us with so much Marvel content, I feel like they are going to kind of turn people off more just because there's so much, and if you don't catch up on it, you're just going to get to the point where you're like, there's too much to catch up on. I don't want to commit to trying to watch all these shows and movies just to get to this point so I understand how this movie is
and we
made
don't
or
even
whatever.
know what we're building up to. That's enough. Like, we're not even clued into what the goal is. I think people have theories, right?
Like
It's-
there's Doctor Doom or like Galactus or X-Men and
yeah.
Fantastic Four. There's a
Kang the
Conqueror.
Yeah.
Like, you can do all of that, but at the same time, there's just like, if you're just releasing it so frequently, I feel like you're gonna appease some of the Marvel fans, sure, like for the diehards, but eventually you're just gonna kind of like fizzle off, just because like there's only so many ways that you can write a story, and they've written the same story over and over and over again. There's a few that stand out that are different or better than the others, but it's just your typical, here's a good guy who rose from nothing, here's a bad guy who's an adversary who's also a friend or whatever. One of them dies, one of them like becomes a good guy again or whatever. It's a mold. They're all becoming kind of cookie cutter.
It feels like what they're doing now is taking different film styles and genres and being like, okay, here's a Marvel movie, and we'll attach this Taika Waititi film style to the movie, or we'll attach the Sam Raimi style, but it's still the same
But it still
formula.
feels the same, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks a little bit different.
Yeah. It all just falls into this mold, and I guess if that's what you like in cinema, sure, like, good for you. But I just feel like maybe I should have been more of a Marvel fan beforehand before I would speak on this, I guess. But like, to me, it all feels the same, and I've lost interest.
Yeah. I don't know if I've ever said this on our podcast, so for those who listen to us, don't quote me on this.
I will quote him on it. Don't worry.
You may even remember. As I said, I feel like I'm probably the biggest Marvel fan here. I've been obsessed with Marvel my entire life.
Say you guys got to do the rock paper scissors.
Would you agree? Or
Yeah, probably. I mean, I think Zach's up there, but you've probably read more comics. Would you agree?
Well,
Yeah, I'm not super into the comics.
oh yeah, I've been into all of it.
So it's fair. I think.
This is the first time, legitimately in my life, that I feel like I will pick and choose what I watch. I've watched everything up to this point. I gave up on Miss Marvel a few weeks back. It had a great beginning. Also, I want to mention this. Miss Marvel is the highest rated MCU project with a 98%. Nothing about it is deserving of a 98% at all. But I gave up on the show. I looked at spoilers and I'm like, wow, this is cookie cutter. Every show had the episode before the finale is just a flashback on one of the characters, and you kind of walk through their life. Same way Moon Knight did it, WandaVision did it, Loki kind of sort of did it. But even after seeing this, I feel like I'm gonna just pick and choose what I watch. I have no plans on watching. What's it? She-Hulk. It looks horrible. what I'll do is just
The
look at-
lawyer.
That's right. It's She-Hulk the lawyer. I forgot.
Or attorney at law.
Yeah, attorney at law. Yeah.
There you go.
I will just every week I'll just look at spoilers so I at least know what's sort of happening. But it just sucks to say. And I'm not gonna lie. I remember I think it was D23 last year or 2 years ago when they announced all the Star Wars and Marvel projects. And I think Star Wars so far has done a great job of having a lot of quality or a lot of quantity, but it's all been, for the most part, other than the Book of Boba Fett, quality. And you can tell that they're really they're not trying to overdo it. Marvel, man, it is. It's quantity over quality, and I hate that I have to say that because I don't know if you guys remember this. I mean, I say this like this is years and years ago, but it used to be an experience, like something you look forward to months in advance to go see a Marvel movie in theaters. And I remember seeing Ant-Man, and I remember seeing Black Panther and Spider-Man, like these new characters, and after the movie, I was hooked. I absolutely love them. So far, other than maybe Shang-Chi, there is not one character in Phase 4 that is new that I've really connected with. It's like America Chavez in the last film. Yeah, she was great, but there's nothing about her that I'm excited to see. Miss Marvel has been the same way. Moon Knight is all right. I'm just rambling at this point. Phase 4 is just quantity over quality, and I hate that we've gotten to this point, but I don't feel motivated anymore. I'm not that excited for anything. Guardians 3, obviously, like you were saying, that to me is, as of now, that and Fantastic Four are the two final projects I'm really hyped for, but I don't know. Daredevil, I think, will be a train wreck. I'm just being
What about
honest.
Blade?
Oh, I forgot about Blade. Yeah, Mahershala Ali, I think, is an incredible actor. They keep getting these big deal actors.
Is it rated R?
It won't be rated R. Oh, Deadpool 3. I cannot wait for Deadpool 3. I fully expect that to tap into A, it's rated R. B, it'll probably make fun of everything the MCU set up. And have either of you seen the Deadpool films?
Yeah.
Deadpool 2, the freaking post-credit scenes ended it perfectly. Time travel. He's going to different universes. So how ironic is it that in Deadpool 3 he'll just end up in a new one? So those are the three things I'm looking forward to. But yeah, I am, for the first time in my life, on a pick-and-choose train. I'll see what I want and skip what I need to.
So I know that there's a lot of things in life that are disappointing, including this movie. And also the scene where Thor watched the temple fall to pieces. That's pretty disappointing for the people who built that temple.
Very.
But someone who won't let you down and can help you save money on your insurance for temples is Hedman Anglin Agency. They're known for saving people money on auto, home, and business insurance. If you would like a cardboard cutout of us, we're still offering it. You need to give Hedman Anglin Agency a call at 614-486-7300. That's
614-486-7300.
Was that slow enough? Everyone could recognize what the number is. And so the cardboard cutouts are still up for sale. Not for sale. It's not really a sale because you're going to be saving.
It's a prize.
It's really, you already have car insurance. They're just going to save you money, and then you'll get free cardboard cutouts. So you really couldn't lose. So check them out. Give them a call. We've appreciated working with them for 50 episodes at this point, maybe.
50 years, boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys look good for your age.
Yeah. We're aging. We're like in Lightyear when he keeps going, or Interstellar or whatever. Any movie like that. Where he keeps
There you
going.
go.
Why was Lightyear your first?
That's the most recent.
I
Most
realized that
recent. Most
Lightyear was
recent.
just a ripoff of Interstellar for kids, and I was like, "What? Maybe we'll do a ripoff of Inception for kids."
No, I love the line in
that'd
this
be
movie. If you watch Interstellar, that explains it really well.
I forgot about that. I love that Interstellar was mentioned.
That pop culture references.
Here's the
Yeah.
question, though. If Interstellar is mentioned, that means Warner Brothers exists. So does that mean the DCEU exists? Wait, no.
Yes.
Did you guys see Eternals?
Yes.
Batman and Superman were mentioned. So yeah, the DCEU exists. So did they
They're
watch
like,
the Snyder cut?
we're the real universe, and DC just exists
Yeah.
as a fake universe within our universe.
Well, in Warner Bros, you have the Lego Batman movie. You have his password is Iron Man sucks.
Yeah.
So
Also in the,
technically,
also in the
that
Boys,
happened
yeah.
before Eternals. So
In the Boys, Marvel was referenced. So I guess all the superhero genres are just a big circle. It's a circle of life. They all know each other exist.
Okay, so I think my next question is going to be, if Marvel is going downhill, and Marvel over the last 10 years, 15 years maybe even at this
Yeah.
point, pretty close to 15, has been the biggest thing. Would you agree it's the biggest thing in cinema?
Oh, not even close. Absolutely.
Like worldwide,
unfortunately,
Marvel is the biggest thing in cinema. So now that it seems like we're in downward times in Marvel, what do you think you're looking forward to the most in the future of cinema? Zach. Let's start with Jaden. Actually, let's go backwards.
Barbie. No, I'm kidding. Are we doing this year or just
No, in the
upcoming?
future. Just it doesn't. It can be this year. It can be
Movie projects or
like who you foresee, what company or director or really anybody you foresee in the future
Sorry.
taking over sort of the market to be the next thing. Because really, if you look at it, we have Marvel, and then a lot of the big directors, Martin Scorsese, Quentin Tarantino, Christopher Nolan, they've already made tons of movies. They'll still make a couple more. Nolan may still make several more, but they've already hit their this is the up and coming guy, and then peaked even. I'm not saying they're necessarily going downhill, but they're like plateauing because there's only so high you can go.
Yeah.
So who are the people who will be taking over cinema essentially, and or where do you think cinema is going to head?
So I think this is all. I feel like this is all personality based, just what we're all looking forward to. I hate to say it though, Disney's still going to remain on top.
Yeah.
Lightyear is a weird kind of one-off failure. Like I'm shocked this movie didn't do well. I think maybe with some of the, the things the parents were not looking forward to being in that movie maybe helped that. But Disney, I still feel like will be on top. I feel like this is a tough question, honestly.
That's a very vague question.
Yeah.
So you can kind of just take it whatever direction you want.
So I guess I'll speak from me personally. The things that I will be looking forward to, again, will maybe still be some Marvel projects, but I'm looking forward to anything Christopher Nolan's going to come out with, anything Denis Villeneuve or however he pronounces
Denis
it.
Villeneuve, I believe.
Yes. Whatever he.
It took me a
puts
long time to get
Yeah.
that.
I know. Yeah. I am always interested in what those two have to offer. Just because, say it again for me.
What?
His name?
Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah, Denis makes he's my personal favorite director. I know that's probably like a film student answer because Blade Runner or whatever, but I'm excited for what he has to offer and what Christopher Nolan has to offer. Yeah, I didn't really answer your question, but your question was so broad that I could really
Sounds
tackle it
good.
wherever, so.
We'll just have
So
everyone take it.
I guess personal what we're looking forward to. Oh, no joke though. Barbie is definitely
Greta
up
Gerwig.
there.
I think Greta Gerwig's like on the come up. Like I mean,
Oh yeah,
Lady Bird. I've heard Little Woman was good, so she'd be on.
it's long, but it's fairly decent. Yeah.
I'm looking forward, as far as cinema goes, to the time where I will not be able to tell the difference between CGI and real. Mostly because, like, whenever CGI was first introduced in movies, like maybe 60s, 70s, or whatever, like, you can tell there's a big difference. But then you jump forward 20, 30 years, like, we've made a lot of advancements. So thinking about, like, just how much, like, technologically advanced we've become, like, so quickly, I'm curious to see what directors will do and, like, how they will choose to cast people 20 years from now with just how, I guess, advanced our computers will become and how advanced the cameras will become, if we'll even need to have human actors, because maybe they'll have AI actors that they make. So, like, I have no idea if that'll be if that's going to be a possibility. So I'd be curious to see, like, how big a role technology plays in the future of movies. But at the same time, I'm also curious to see if cinema, in that sense, dies. If it all just becomes, like, there's no more, I guess, acting. Everything's just programmed.
It's all
essentially.
it's all YouTube and it's in
Yeah.
it's in the VR space potentially.
Yeah.
Right, but that's talking, like, way down the line. Like, maybe when we're in our 50s,
Maybe
and 60s.
bring it down to the next
So,
2
like,
or 3 years.
So no, I'm starting broad with, like, okay, with what might happen technologically. But as far as, like, actual recent projects that might be happening in the future, I have a lot of hope for not necessarily the DC Extended Universe, but interested to see how DC handles some of their A-list characters, because DC has a lot of really good characters that haven't really been expounded upon yet. Superman is very much underutilized, and so when Warner Bros. Discovery said, hey, we want to actually bring Superman, like, make him our spotlight character, that made me really happy. When we got news of, there's going to be all these spin-off shows of Batman, that made me really happy, not just because, like, they're just trying to make money, but there's a lot of really good, like, Batman villains that the screen has never seen. We keep seeing Joker, we keep seeing Catwoman or whatever, which I don't mind, because they're some of DC's best. But I'm interested to see how what DC's future looks like, because there's definitely going to be a lot of lows still. but I'm also hopeful for some of the A-list characters actually getting some more light that they deserve. And then I also want to see what directors' final movies are. Like, I want to see what, like, the day that, like, whenever Christopher Nolan dies or Quentin Tarantino, I want to know, like, what was the movie that they went out on? Because, like, with Quentin Tarantino, like, he capped and said, like, no, I'm capping it at 10 movies or whatever. If we'll see if that happens, or if he tries to make an excuse of, like, oh, Kill Bill Volume 3 is technically part of the other movie.
So then it would be
11.
2 more movies
Right,
instead of 1 more movie.
Right.
Yeah.
There's been talks of that, but, like, I'm really interested to see, like, what their final movies will be, and then I also want to see, like, what actors are, like, semi well known now that become, like, that blow up and become huge. And then I also kind of want to, actually maybe that's a little bit too mean of a thought, but I want to see some actors who are just highly overrated to kind of, like,
Have their
fall like not necessarily Timothy Chalamet, but I want to, like, for
Zendaya.
him, Zendaya and Tom Holland in particular. I'm like, okay, like, sure, like, there's
As
a
long
lot
as
of
they
hype
keep-
around them.
As long as they keep putting them in not good movies, then it's fine. I don't care.
That's the thing. Like, I want to see them in better movies, or I want to see the hype around them toned down a little bit, or other actors need to be appreciated more. Maybe like Michael Fassbender, highly underrated, or Christoph Waltz, highly underrated. So many other actors.
Underutilized too. I would argue.
Underutilized, yes,
Agreed.
Definitely. So that's the future of cinema for me. I want to see the underutilized and underrated in the spotlight more. I want to see what the final movies look like, and then I want to see what movies will look like way down the line if there's even acting anymore.
Can I actually add one more that I completely forgot about?
No.
Okay, guys, it's been great. I'll see you later. Bye. No, I forgot to mention this too. The company that I'm most hyped about is A24.
Yeah.
A24 this year has knocked it out of the park with everything except Men. I don't know if you guys saw Men.
I was
freaky.
excited for it, and then I saw all the reviews, and I was like, I'm not gonna watch this anymore.
It's one of those films that you'll probably have to watch like 4 or 5 times to truly appreciate. But I don't want to see certain.
I've heard
scenes.
that it's rough
Spaghetti
in
or
some
something?
parts.
But yeah, I forgot to mention, this is like their first big year where they're releasing a ton of content. And I know that you said Marcel the Shell is like your most anticipated film of the year.
Yeah.
I don't know if you were joking or if you
No,
were
I was
serious.
it's like a joke turned serious.
Yeah.
And I'm actually excited for it.
But yeah, I'm excited to see what they do over the next few years just because I feel like everything this year, minus Men, has been awesome.
Everything
So,
everywhere was
maybe the best film
insane.
of the year.
and
Northman was also really, really good.
yeah, I'll parlay this into mine because A24 comes to mind, but then at the same time I get this sort of cynical sense with A24 where I'm like, this is just like everyone else where they take a branding thing and they put it on and there's like but they have started to produce their own movies, but originally they were sort of like, we go to the independent film festival circuits and then we take these movies and we brand them A24 and distribute them. Whereas now they're getting more into production, like actual instead of somebody else producing it and then buying the distribution rights. So that's kind of interesting. I do think in the same range that Marvel basically was king
That's
in
fair.
the independent scene, A24 revived cinema from being just a commercial product and allowed real, more artistic minds to push the boundaries of cinema, to do things like elevated horror and quick cuts and uncut gems and Good Time with the Safdie brothers, and just do unique smaller films that are more focused and on less individuals instead of these huge blockbusters.
Yeah.
And I think there was a while that was kind of missing in the early 2000s. If you look hard enough, you obviously will be able to find movies in that time period that were independent and people like and are critically acclaimed. But it was coming off the 80s and 90s where you had a lot of cinema just worked differently. Scorsese and Kubrick and those guys could make films that grossed a bunch of money and were also critically acclaimed and had this sort of more this is an auteur. They sort of towed the line, and even Tarantino and Nolan did that, and Paul Thomas Anderson. But we're allowing a new generation of those types, and I think you're right. This is a banner year for them where they're able to get more movie theater exposure. It's not all based on streaming on Netflix or Showtime or whatever. And so I'm looking forward to that. I actually kind of had I'm kind of hoping, after going through a phase where I watched a lot of 70s and 80s slasher movies, I'm kind of hoping that we get this like practical effects revival and
Yeah.
some because I realized I'm like, I don't know that we're gonna get to the point where the CGI is so realistic. It's even realistic now, but there's still this part of us that just knows it's not, that we're being tricked, and we like being, and somehow there's this weird thing with our brains where we sort of like being tricked by the practical effects. I've heard lots of people say this, like with the original Star Wars, and it's like it may look campy or whatever, but somehow we appreciate the creativity. I think it is the creativity, the lengths that you have to go to try to make something out of nothing. Like it's no, you look at directors like Christopher Nolan, for example. My favorite movie of his is Memento. And like, why is the reason for that? It's because he had the most constraint and had to make the most out of the least available to him. The rest of his career, money was not a problem. He could do whatever he wanted, and he still made great movies. But I think there's something about that creativity coming out of the constraint of a limited budget and limited ability to do certain effects that I appreciate a lot. I don't know whether it's appreciated as much by general audiences, like maybe this is all like selfish, but I think I'm wishing for more balance, or we see more of the like Goodfellas and stuff where it's like big in the box office and big, like Roger Ebert types can still like it. It's sort of, and then we still have the art house weird stuff for like the weird people like me who like to watch that, but where it's more of a balance rather than the really commercialized blockbusters all the time. Obviously, there's a time and a place for everything. I don't want to completely get rid of like popcorn blockbusters or anything like that. All right, so that was kind of a long, bloated answer. But Zach, do you have any feelings based off of all of those?
Let's see. Okay, so I don't have anything I'm excited for. I really don't.
Nothing.
But this is what I think is going to happen. So we are still buying tickets for Marvel. So to Marvel, they're going to keep doing this, right? So I think other companies aren't going to look at it from a should we make good movie perspective. They're going to look at it from we should repeat the Marvel standard. So I think that movies are going to get more high maintenance, where you're going to have to watch a TV show before a movie to like prelude into it, or you're going to have to watch. They'll make a TV show. They've already done this with their other movies and stuff like that. And then I also think that cinema will die. Like it's bound to happen, right? It's not going to be around forever. You're not going to go to a theater forever, are you?
I will.
I mean, I want to.
Till the day I die, I hope I can.
No, I think there are a lot of people that are like that, but the people that actually will stick to that aren't going to be enough to keep it in. So it'll be smaller theaters. It won't be as big. There won't be like big theaters. I think this is way down the line, of course. But I think it's going to be a lot of streaming and stuff like that when people are just super lazy, especially in America, just staying home, streaming HBO Max, something like that, which sucks. But I think that's what's going to happen. And I don't see it getting better. I really don't. I think A24 is great, but it's not going to be always great.
That's fair. Yeah.
We've seen a couple bad A24 films, which is good. I mean, they still got they still have a good track record, I think. But I think this is what we have to do: natural selection. Okay, so with movies, there's a whole thing. We have to make these movies compete each other, and we as the audience have to take charge and only go see the movies that it's kind of hard to do, though. It's only hard. It's kind of yeah.
What I want to add to that, we sort of talked about this yesterday, and I feel like the Minions movie has proved this. I feel like this year I've noticed so much of the movies that are successful is just word of mouth. Like, Everything Everywhere All at Once blew up at the box office, and it was pushed in thousands of extra theaters because of word of mouth. Top Gun is tricky. I feel like it would be popular regardless, but word of mouth...
Top Gun's kind of a phenomenon.
Yeah, word of mouth really helped this movie get pushed past that opening week, which was great, but it just skyrocketed in the second week and from there on out. And then something like Minions, Rise of Gru, just a trend.
That's just post irony.
Yeah,
which like I've watched videos describing like in a more philosophical sense what the humor in the internet has done to Gen Z, and what it does is make super unpredictable trends that like even though Minions the marketing, I don't think they ever could have foreseen. Like
I think it's funny.
I don't really think that it was on purpose that they somehow got this ironic filing. I know they did really strange marketing and they
Mhm.
did really weird product placement. But I still think it came off the Morbius. It really came off the
Yeah.
Morbius thing.
It was
Minion-
Morbius, but it actually made money.
Yeah,
And it
Minions
transitioned.
is that.
So Morbius didn't really make money because it was like a couple people, but Minions became
Yeah.
everybody doing it. And now theaters, this is the fascinating thing to me, I think. Are movie production studios who have movies where they're like, we know that critics aren't going to, hop onto this. Are they going to start to try to make fake TikTok? They probably are already doing this, right? They're going to be sending hired employees to theaters to pull off weird
It's kind of
stunts,
smart, honestly.
and make everything an ironic trend if they know it's not going to be like just popular based off its own merit.
On that same train of thought, do you think movies and like filmmakers are going to start becoming more or having more memeable titles? Because like a lot of it's like you guys said, like it comes from memes. Like, oh, you have like the 4 buff guys in suits or whatever saying like 4 tickets to Minions Rise of Gru, please.
Or 4 tickets to
like-
Barbie. They're
Yeah.
already starting it.
Right.
Barbie's gonna explode at the box office. I'm just being honest because of the memes.
So are we going to get a lot more obscure, just like out of the blue, weird movies or like weird titles just because of this trend as well?
Yeah, I mean, definitely as possible. And the odd thing is that, like, with movie culture, with really anything in art, like, even now, I like really how I found out about a lot of like the older critically acclaimed movies is just like really niche meme people on
That's
Instagram
fair, yeah.
talking about like Andrei Tarkovsky and like older Criterion Collection, directors. I guess the Criterion Collection probably played a factor in why those directors are now like talked about and revered. But like they're revered seriously and revered ironically. So it's like kind of hard to balance like it's hard because like Minions, I feel like some people are like, oh, it's better than they probably thought it was going to be, from what I've heard. Some people think, but their expectations were probably at the floor,
Yeah.
But and just seeing a trend like this makes you kind of like things
yeah.
better, yeah. But then you see even like the serious stuff being like memed and made like all these Sigma male movies are like getting a resurgence in popularity because of memes.
Right.
I love it. I'm not gonna lie. Sigma
Yeah.
is hilarious.
I know it's all hilarious and it gets me hyped about like these movies
Yeah.
that are like
No, you're
older,
right.
and I've like watched most of them. So and they are good movies. It's just funny because they're like people are appreciating them in an ironic way that wasn't the original intention probably of the person
Yeah.
making the movie. But they can also still appreciate it in the actual sense of like what it was supposed to be. It's just we live in a very strange time where the internet is changing everything.
Yeah.
And we're just seeing it happen in real time.
I will say, to piggyback off of what Zach said a second ago about how everything's going to try to, you said like it's going to try to go a Marvel route and try and do that. I feel like we already had that when it came to the DCEU, just completely reset, tried to be like Marvel. It failed. Poor Transformers tried to make Bumblebee like a Marvel film, and it did horrible. Like I feel like we're past that. What I feel like we moved into, maybe this is just me personally, but I feel like we've noticed it a lot in the past year, is they're making movies with cameos of really famous people to get people in the seats, or they're doing these feel-good movies where they're just greenlighting sequels for all these other projects that were back in the 80s or the 90s or stuff. Everything's getting
Nostalgia.
yeah, everything we're just getting nostalgia baited by everything
That's
nowadays.
Stranger Things' fault.
Yeah, well, you're probably not wrong.
Well, they
about
realized
that.
how popular 80s. I mean, it's Donnie Darko's fault, really, if we're really going back to the.
All back-
the
all
first
comes back to
80s
Donnie.
nostalgia.
I know you
movie.
love it. I know you love it. I think it's a decent movie, but
It's pretty
my
good.
goodness.
yeah,
Best
No,
movie ever.
I was in and out of it.
Beast.
I was so tired when I first watched
Well,
it. So
yeah.
that probably
You need
could
to
be
watch the
dynamic.
director's cut, right, Zach?
No.
Yeah.
All right. I have no idea where we are time wise.
We were about to
But I
hit 1 hour.
Okay. We should probably wrap things up. Let's just do this. Let's pull a page out of the Backstage Cinema
Ooh.
playbook, and we'll ask you guys what your favorite director, actor, and your future goals with cinema are. This isn't your exact questions, but these are the 3 questions that came
Relatively
up on the
close,
spot.
yeah.
So, yeah. Whoever wants to go first.
Okay. You go first.
Favorite director? It changes all the time. I really enjoy going to see Wes Anderson and Paul Thomas Anderson movies. But again,
Those
it all-
Andersons.
It's something about the Andersons. I also really like the Coen brothers. I don't think I'd have like a singular have a favorite director. It's more just like of a mood thing of like, oh, I'm really in a Matt Reeves mood right now, so I want to go see some Planet of the Apes and Batman, or I'm in a Quentin Tarantino mood and I want to see a lot of blood and feet and all that, the typical Tarantino things. But it really is just more of a mood type thing for me, honestly. As far as favorite actors, I mean, there's always the classic. Like I said earlier, Michael Fassbender and Christoph Waltz, I feel like are underutilized, and I really like them. Joaquin Phoenix is fantastic. I'll see anything with him.
Come on. I'm telling you gotta watch it.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
It's on my list. And then what was the last one?
Like, what are your future goals with cinema? And I asked this because I know you both have them.
Future goals with cinema. My own personal future goals?
Your own personal future goals.
Well, currently, if you guys didn't know if any of you listen to our podcast, I think I may have said it before, but I am currently a ROTC cadet, and I am hoping to get into public affairs, which will then hopefully get me into combat camera, because I want to become a combat camera airman. Essentially what that is just like any war documentary you see, someone has to film that. And so I want to go fly in fast planes, be on the field, in the combat field in those situations. I want to be recording that, mostly for documentation reasons, but also for because it also helps our military scout out different areas. And so I feel like I'll help my country in that way first. And then afterwards, if I survive that, I'd like to go into something with either independent filmmaking, or if they'll take me, if they accept me based on my values or my experience with movies, something with Hollywood maybe, because I've got a few movie ideas that I'd really like to make one day. But in the meantime, I've just been making movies with my buddies. And so my future goal would be to write my own movie.
Do you have a place that you can check out those movies, or are they just mostly?
Oh yeah, some of them.
I do have a YouTube channel. It's called, ironically, Cinematic Genius, and there's nothing cinematic or genius about it. Well, there are some cool things. Some things. Most of the projects are private because I don't know if the world is ready for them anymore. Oh. So if you want to see some of the individual ones, just contact me on Instagram at @YisIke, and then I believe I'll just hand it over to you at this point. But
yeah. So my favorite director. Sorry, I blanked on the question for a second. Would you like to pronounce his name again?
Denis Villeneuve.
Denis Villeneuve. I'm gonna eventually get that right. I probably said his name 100
I think it's
wrong.
French is the reason why.
Yes.
Denis Villeneuve.
I think to me he is my favorite director. I know what you were saying that it just depends on.
He's
mood.
definitely top 5.
Yeah.
Mixing around.
When I first saw Prisoners, that to me fully submitted the fact that he is my favorite director. I love every. Well, I haven't seen all of his films yet, but
have you seen Enemy?
Yes. Enemy is unbelievable. I thought Arrival was one of.
Oh.
I genuinely believe it's one of the only, not perfect, but it's very close to perfect films. Prisoner may possibly. I think Prisoners to me will be a top 5 film maybe of all time. And I'm a sucker for Dune. So like.
And Blade, you can't even forget.
And Blade Runner. I love Blade Runner 2049. Favorite actor. This is where it's a mood for me. I feel like I say Christian Bale a lot. I say Ryan Gosling a lot. Chadwick Boseman at a time was my favorite actor. Obviously, things.
Unfortunately, he didn't get a chance to be in all that many movies.
Yeah,
sadly.
Right.
I still think to this day his performance as Jackie Robertson is one of the greatest movie performances, or not. Maybe that's hard to say. One of the best,
most impactful.
Yeah, he played him to almost near perfection. Currently,
George Clooney.
Sorry guys. George Clooney is also there. I feel like currently I would put Ryan Gosling at number 1 just because I love anything he's in. So that to me, I guess for the future, if you were to ask me a handful of years back, I would say probably acting. And I guess part of this may be just doing this podcast, but I have really fallen in love with editing, especially when it comes to sound. I feel like I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so maybe I'll actually edit the sound on this episode. I have no idea.
You probably will.
Yeah, before.
Just telling you right now. If you want it to turn out good, you'll probably edit it.
That'll be $100
before we head out, and obviously. But over the past 2 years, I want to say I have fallen head over heels in love with cinematography. So
oh yeah.
what I'm currently going for is screenwriting and cinematography. I would love to do something in that field. I'm not crazy about being in front of a camera. I just don't feel like that's me. I love and I've been able to appreciate the work that other people have done behind the camera, whether that is in screenwriting or directing or cinematography or even music, whatever that is. So I'm hoping to get something maybe behind the camera. That could be any of those, music, directing, cinematography, but
editing.
yeah,
Very exciting, sexy
editing,
not sure.
anything like
Oh,
that. And I know that Ike said, he'd love to do something in Hollywood. I don't want to say this is an end goal, but I would like to one day have made a film that will impact somebody, maybe whatever that is, maybe even if it's just cinematography, impact somebody enough to the point where I can at least say that I feel like I'm content with what I did in that. So
Yeah.
for me, whatever the future holds, regardless of what I end up doing for the rest of my life, I
Wherever
hope that
God
it's
takes us.
something behind the camera. So
Very cool. Very cool.
I think we'd both want to, at the very least, do something like if we could get our own little movie group,
Yep.
like the core
We
crew
ha-
has.
we
Like,
have
that'd
an
be
army.
So fun.
we have an army so far.
We have an army.
Ike may not agree with this, but I think he's pretty good at acting. So we can get Ike in front.
I mean, I'll do it.
He's
He
done,
can do a great New Zealand accent.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
speaks
found
Spain.
out.
he's done some movie projects already. So his buddy JP would be good.
Yeah.
We had Liam on our podcast for Lightyear.
Oh, he's.
I swear everyone
yeah.
who comes on your podcast is somehow associated with film.
It's hilarious,
Yeah, like,
dude.
as
an
And it's
actual-
never-
I love it,
it's
yeah.
not always
Pursuit.
intentional.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So our friend Liam is
Sh-
finishing out doing visual effects work.
Noah and Schubert.
Yeah, Noah
both-
and Nathan
You
are
got
both.
this guy over here.
Yeah,
That
we have
Mr.
our animator
Animator.
already.
Hello,
Noah
Mr.
and Nathan,
Animator.
who were on some of our most recent episodes, are doing something to film, and then Abby,
Yeah.
who just did our. Well, I don't know when this will come out, but Abby was our latest episode as of the recording of this. She is hoping to do something in film as well, so
Yep.
I think it would be a lot of fun to.
Yeah.
Obviously, both of us have done projects with friends of ours, but it would be really fun to do something more that will get appreciated.
All you need is someone with some money. To fund.
Where'd Leah go?
Leah.
But yeah, I guess those are our thoughts and dreams. Obviously, the podcast would be fun to keep doing.
Oh
But
yeah, I would
Yeah.
love to do that.
yeah,
forever.
after a
Well,
while,
now every celebrity does a podcast. So the more popular you get, the more
Yeah.
likely that your podcast
how
is
this
going
will
to be a good secondary income
how it'll
or
work.
primary
Right.
income.
How it'll work is if you guys get famous, we ride off of your success. If we get famous, you guys can ride off our success.
Sure,
So,
that's a good deal. I do want to say though, I think it's pretty encouraging just because I think you guys take this a lot more seriously at least than Ben and I do, like in a good way. And like you guys work a lot harder is what I mean. Like Ben works very hard. He does way more work than me, but I don't want to.
he said on the episode it was like a 90.
No, it is.
90-10.
It definitely is. He does. I
Okay.
mean, yeah, but it's great. So I think it's great that you guys put in all the work. I mean, before this, we were kind of freaking out and relying on Jaden to do the technical work and stuff like that, and we ended up having to use his computer, even though Ben knows how to do it, but his computer wasn't working. But anyway,
Yeah, we got it
Every-
figured out.
all three of you are great, is what I'm saying. I know I'm piggybacking on everybody, but
Yeah.
it's great. It's cool to see that you guys want to do something in film at least. I don't personally, but I'm glad that people do because then I get to watch movies. So that's great.
You
Yeah.
love watching
And then
movies.
podcasts get to be made about movies.
Oh
yeah, it's. I think we're both. If the podcast was somehow like, and we'd have to put a lot more work into it, and we talked about that. But like, I think we both want to keep doing the podcast just as a community thing, if nothing
It's
else,
a hobby.
Oh yeah.
and a hobby. Like, in the future, like I don't know. I feel like I'm too scatterbrained to ever go into making films.
Hmm.
Like I can't focus enough. I need to work a normal job, be a normal
Yeah.
plebeian. But podcasting suits me because I'm scatterbrained. So
Oh, yeah.
I need people like Zach to get me focused on one thing.
Hmm.
But it's been very cool to see you guys. Quite honestly, I think you guys are already better than us. I'm not lying.
Yes, no, I'm kidding.
and you guys and that makes sense because you guys had a lot more skills, I think, naturally. But I appreciate having community within podcasting is what the
Oh,
point
yeah.
I was
Oh, yeah.
trying to say. Like it's no longer just this isolated thing that we do. We now have people who we can throw ideas off of and see what they're doing and not completely copy it. Hopefully you never see us like exactly copying anything you do.
Yeah.
You can feel free to copyright it. But but I've just enjoyed, this. I sort of knew Ike. Now I've got to know Jaden, and just
Yeah,
hopefully
we got to
we
know
meet
Zach.
more and more people
Yep.
who we can just pull into this like vague
Yeah.
community of people that loves movies in different ways. Like if I was gonna do anything, I feel like I would end up being a critical route where I'm just critiquing, which I know
I
is
would
like
love to be a critic.
the
too. I just wanna
lamest
put that there.
like way you can go, because you can never be wrong as a critic. Exactly. Like you
Yeah.
always you never make anything of your own merit. You're always just critiquing other people's stuff.
That's fair.
So it puts you.
Yeah.
It's like what Ratatouille is about. So
Oh,
there's
yeah.
less like
oh yeah.
10 out of
risk
10.
associated with it, but it's still a fun thing to do and something that I
Yeah.
find myself naturally attracted to. So with that, I think it's time to close the vault, which you guys know is our longest running bit. That's
Oh, yeah.
probably not really that funny, but
Do we get closed in the vault, or do
No.
we get to walk out the vault?
we
first?
get closed in the vault.
If I'm okay,
Oh, so we
okay.
trap you.
If I'm
Yeah.
stuck
Ah.
in the vault with you guys, I'm not complaining.
Okay.
That's
Same.
all.
Well,
You guys
that's
are
your call, I
cool.
guess, because you're closing the
You
door.
want to stay in the vault?
Yeah, we'll stay in the
We'll
vault.
stay in the vault. with you
Jonathan,
guys
close
for a
the
bit.
door.
Close the door. Doors in the vault. There
The
was a
vault
wham
is
noise.
closed. Oh, also post-credit scene. I wanted to mention that Jonathan texted me and said he was excited about video game adaptations that were actually good. So, as your
Oh, we could have
post-credit,
had him on our episode with
Oh.
Colin.
as
Yeah.
your post-credit scene, that's what you get. All
Maybe
right,
He would have promoted us.
signing off.
Goodbye.
We love you, George Clooney.
We love you,
Oh,
George
yes.
Clooney.